because here we are on Metropolis and spawning on the southwestern corner as the teal Protoss player. He is the one, the only SlayerS.Arthur.
SlayerS.Arthur.
And then spawning on the northeastern corner, he is the red Zerg, which we have been sorry for some lag there. He has been doing very, very well tonight. He is TSLRevival.
Revival.
Yes, alright. So hopefully that was the one and only lag spike we will have this game.
Yeah, if we're lucky, that would be key.
Hmm.
But, so this is a PvZ, and as both Jethro and I are Protoss players, we know how this is going to start.
Yeah.
And probes, pylons, forges.
Yeah, all the good stuff. Forges.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Forge Fast Expand, the only way to go, if you ask me. If you ask Unctious, he might get a different answer.
Honor Cup Z has left the game. I hope we don't need him.
I don't think so. I think he's an admin.
Alright, cool. Yeah, so, I mean, I prefer the Gateway Expand kind of builds. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
basically what you're
but
saying is that you're living 8 months in the past.
Yeah, I like to pretend that
that it's
I never got
2011
because you know, I'm just not happy with all this Forge Fast expanding madness. And really, that's what it is, madness.
Madness.
Yeah, I imagine, you know, a Ling coming over and then some Zealot just kicking him into a cannon right in the chest, you know?
Right.
You know, and this is Forge Fast Expand.
Yes. Alright, well, we see the probe is in position to block the hatchery when it does eventually start to go down. Nice little patrol there.
Yep, always nice to do. That probe's not going to let any drone get down there.
No.
We do see the spawning pool coming out from Revival.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. Arthur taking control of that probe, saying, "Get out of here! I don't need you." I imagine he'll be throwing down a pylon just to deny that. It's very, very standard to do that.
Think so. There he goes. Will he get away? Yes, he does get away for the time being. Gonna go ahead and run free.
Yeah, hopefully he'll
actually, yeah, he's going to try and deny it the third. Very, very exciting probe micro here. Will the third base go down? I think it will. Oh, yes, it does go down. So TSLRevival sort of forcing himself to go for a fast 3 bases here, and in response, SlayerS.Arthur immediately continuing with the Forge Fast Expand, and it was actually Nexus first, we should note. The Nexus did go down long before the Forge and the Gateway. And he knows he's able to do that. He knows Revival is probably going to go for fast 3 bases, and regardless, you're so far away in cross positions on this map. Nexus first, definitely something you can get away with.
Now, I have to ask, because I don't know on this map, is that a full wall off?
Is that, I think
I mean,
so.
That circle goes right up against those rocks, but I don't know if a probe can get out of there. And I believe that Forge goes up against both of those, its flanking buildings. Actually, there's probably a little space there on the other side. We see a cannon going down just to be safe, a probe checking around. The pylon did get taken out or canceled.
Yeah, it was canceled.
Not sure off the top of my head.
Canceled.
It did get canceled, so he didn't let it finish. He was really just trying to delay that natural. But here we go, another pylon going down. Being able to open up that door for possible possible cannon rushes. But
yeah, I mean that was just a feign. Anyways, he wasn't actually going to go for that. But it was a bit of a sloppy feign. As we see the probe just left to die.
Arthur didn't really care about that probe.
No, he
He's
did not.
Pretty much. Oh, look at this! That pylon got eaten away at for quite a while. Is now down to orange health.
And that's, of course, it didn't. That's scary. Actually, I mean, a couple roach hits, there were like 1 or 2 banelings gonna knock right through that, making this wall quite weak.
Yeah, but this is definitely a full wall right now.
Yes.
Yeah, completely. There's no doubt about it. So Arthur just trying to stay as safe as possible. Doesn't want to die to anything super early, and he wants to be a little bit sneakier. If no links can get in, it's that much easier to hide your tech tower.
Right, right. I mean, you could place that pylon further back, and then use, 3 buildings to wall that off instead of using the weaker pylon. But that's going to take longer, and it's going to let these initial lings possibly get by. So Arthur choosing to go with this wall style instead.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting that he did this. I don't know if he's actually going to destroy those rocks before he does anything, because if he destroys that pylon, then if there's a run by, all the Zerglings can get straight up into the natural, not into the natural, into the main rather. So Stalker pops out, going to deny that vision. Let's check out what we have going on for Revival right now. It looks like he's grabbing just that 1 gas at his main and that 1 gas at his third, so he'll be on 2 gas total. And we'll see what tech decision he has. You know, he's gonna have quite a few options, and I think generally he's gonna try to be a little bit more responsive in his tech decisions. You know, he's gonna see what his opponent's doing and then kind of decide. Yeah,
and going with his immediate 3 base, we see that he's droning so hard. He's already ahead of the Protoss player, 39 drones to 34 probes. 40 now. So if he continues that, he's going to be on such a strong economy that he can respond with whatever tech he pleases and, have it be very, very formidable. And roaches
Yeah,
for the time
absolutely.
being.
All right, so we see a robotics facility coming down almost immediately for Razor as soon as he had, for Arthur as soon as he had the chance, an observer coming out first just to make sure that he can see what's going on in his opponent's base.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, some Lings running in here, they're actually going to get a little bit of a concave on top of this Zealot, so, Stalker, that Stalker's not going anywhere, so that's a free Stalker, but in the meantime, Revival is actually supply blocked. An Overlord came out this way, and did get killed by a tickling sentry.
Hmm.
And this Overlord's going to go in, see those gas timings. He knows how much gas has been mined from his main, but see that there's nothing really going on beyond that.
Right, right. So he hasn't seen these gateways go down and doesn't see what's coming out of the robotics facility. So, TSLRevival still a little bit in the dark, and that's something that Zergs have issue with. And as a result, we had that most recent patch where the Overlord speed was just slightly increased. And I'm curious to see what Zerg players think about that so far, if they do in fact think that it's helping.
Yeah, I saw a post, I think it was on Team Liquid, about exactly how safe your Overlords are now. You're pretty much able to get Overlords into position without having to risk them.
Right.
So that's always nice. But let's check out what's going on in Arthur's base. We see a ton of gateways going down right now. A total of 6 gateways went down. That brings us to a total of 7, and that robotics facility. So it looks like he's going with a really, really, really heavy Immortal push.
Yeah, so we're going to have a 7 gate, at least with +1. Will he get armor? I don't think so. I think he's just going to focus on units at this point. But the one thing that concerns me is that +1 has just finished, and he has no proxy position, no proxy pylons in position, no forward army. So, his gateways are done, his upgrades are done, but he's not in position to attack. So I think he's missing his timing a little bit, which is concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. And check out Revival's complete map control right now.
As always, it seems beautiful map vision out of Revival.
Oh, yeah, just so solid, making sure that he can see everything. There's nowhere, and I mean barely anywhere, that
Yeah, I'm going to pull up
down.
his vision.
And I was actually about to point out that this little area over here that my camera's on right now was dark, and he immediately put a Zergling there just to make sure that no probe can get by. It's on patrol, but here comes the big Immortal Sentry push. This moment is actually unbelievably tense.
Yeah,
but
no, there is a probe.
Position.
There is a probe with it, so he can throw down the proxy pylon. And those sentries have so much energy. I'm going to go ahead and click on those for you. Look at that beautiful purple color. Tons of force fields are going to be able to be thrown down, but TSLRevival has a strong economy, and he's going to be ready for this. That I assure you. In fact, going for a bit of a counterattack. As you see back at Arthur's base, the roaches are pushing through this wall. This cannon's going to go down, but tons of gateways means tons of warping capabilities, and SlayerS.Arthur going to do everything that he can, and perhaps go for a little bit of a base trade here. This could get quite interesting.
Oh yes, very quickly it's going to get really, really messy. All these sentries and immortals pushing in. I mean, Arthur isn't even a little bit afraid at this point. He's afraid, but he's not afraid of moving into position. He knows that all those units are back at his own base. He's going to be able to push in and try to do some damage. The thing is, he doesn't have enough sentries back here to try to hold off this wall for that long if both of these buildings go down.
Oh, there goes the forge.
Oh, so a couple
beautiful
force
fields.
Nothing else at this point, and that gateway about to go down.
Yeah, so lots of action going down at the front of both bases here. We see the natural has been cleared out, and he's going to go ahead and take down this hatch. Sending the immortals over to the third base, he's going to be able to take out these roaches, and most likely those hatcheries as well, depending on where these reinforcement roaches spawn. But back at SlayerS.Arthur's base, we see that so much stuff is going down. This immortal finally popping out, immediately getting targeted by those roaches. More excellent force fields out of Arthur. I'm very impressed. I think he's maybe able to hold this, and now it's down to how much damage he can do.
Yeah, he's been able to hold for now, but that natural went down, and that natural went down for Revival, so that's definitely a scary position. Revival's going to have to pull back, and Arthur holds.
Yes.
There are a couple Lings going on in here, but they're not going to last very long. Actually, they're doing quite a bit of damage to those gateways. Oh, here comes the surround on Arthur's units. Will that Warp Prism be able to pick up Immortals just before they go down in those sentries? Doesn't look like he's even going to worry about them.
Oh, yes, there he goes. Beautiful micro.
Those 2 Immortals out of there. But, I mean,
look at this.
A really big army. The thing that he has to worry about right now is that counterattack.
Yeah, TSLRevival saying, I am not done with the pressure. I'm going to send tons of roaches and tons of Lings straight down your doorway and see if you can hold. And I'm not sure he'll be able to, although his force fields have been impeccable.
Yeah, at least up until this point. We'll see if he can continue it. He can continue it. We see this Warp Prism coming back, and those 2 Immortals are actually going to be huge in holding this off if he can get them dropped before this aggression comes up. But that is just a ton of sentries. If he can split this army in half, he's going to be in such a good position.
Yeah, and he does not have much money, so he desperately needs to warp in some Stalkers and a lot of Zealots to deal with that high Ling count. But simply can't afford it. I mean, he's still on 2 base, so even though he took down a base of his opponent. He's not ahead in bases and is likely, let's look at the worker count. Actually, he's way behind in economy. He lost tons of probes. 58 drones, 29 probes. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't believe how how far behind Arthur's economy is at this point. And in upgrades, nonetheless, Revival has been using those upgrades to his fullest extent at this point. He's now on 1-1 as opposed to his opponent's 1-0,
right.
And that next upgrade isn't even on the way yet.
All right, we do see another counterattack coming in for Revival. Oh, a bit of a poke, and Guardian Shield goes down. Some force fields do trap a few roaches. Successful force fields for Arthur, although that was a lot of energy.
Yeah, that was.
Granted, he does have energy to spare.
Yeah, he has a ton of sentries out right now. I mean, he's sacrificing DPS in order to get as much of that kind of flow control as he can, controlling the flow of the battle, controlling who's going where. But we have a whole other group of roaches up on this north side. So really, all Revival's doing is pulling this entire group out. Basically Arthur's entire army out of position. Some great force fields trapping those roaches in. There's nowhere that they can go right now. They're absolutely stuck inside in the great concave, and that's going to trigger Revival to try to move forward in front of his opponent's base.
Yeah, those Immortals doing so much damage to those roaches so quickly, but SlayerS.Arthur, with a relatively slow army, is not in position to deal with this counterattack, but once again has sentries in position, so many sentries on the map, and is throwing down these force fields as are needed. Maybe not.
That's right. Roaches being able to get in just a little bit. Those roaches took out this building so quickly, and now Arthur's stuck in the middle of the map, has to decide, am I going to split up my forces? Am I going to put on pressure? It looks like most of them are pulling back. I think he needs to pull back right now.
Yeah.
If this army goes unchecked, he's not going to be able to stay in this for very much longer.
I mean, but the problem is he's defending his... Oh, he just force fielded his own ramp. He's not going to be able to get up there and deal with those roaches.
Yeah, there's nothing that'll break down those force fields. This has got to be it for Arthur. These roaches moving in, taking out every probe along the way. They're going to be able to take out pylons.
There it is.
That's going to be GG.
GG. A huge blunder at a point where he needed that critical defense. Force fields his own ramp. Force fields himself out of his base. SlayerS.Arthur. Fantastic showing, but not quite able to pull it off.
Now, this is a best of 3, so Arthur actually has 2 more chances to stay in this game, to stay in this tournament. If he can take out Revival in the next 2 games, he'll move on to the finals.
Right, this is the semifinals, so we are getting down to the nitty-gritty here.